What's up, y'all? It's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous, and I'm back with another installment of Dangerous Minds. And this week, I want to talk about these clothing lines that have been showing their ass in the news lately. And particularly this whole idea of us boycotting brands like Gucci, Prada, and Burberry for their very, let's say, questionable design choices for some products that ended up on the runway or ended up being, stuff that they were going to put out to sell, but a lot of the backlash caused a lot of that stuff to get taken down. And artists like T.I. and others have come together and said that we need to boycott Gucci for 3 months. And I think that that's a dumbass idea. For one, why is it 3 months? Why is it 3 months that we're going to say that we're not going to fuck with brands that create clothing that represent or that look like blackface, or that have a noose around his neck, or very questionable stuff that is directly tied to our struggle, our suffering as black people? Why is it only a 3-month boycott? And the thing that I wanted to ask was, why are we boycotting? Why don't we just cancel? Why don't we just say we're not gonna fuck with these brands at all for their blatant disrespect, for their just complete either ignorance or just not giving a fuck about black people in the slightest, to even think that any of these designs or these ideas are a good idea. Now, before I get into my argument of why we should cancel and not boycott, I just want to drop some shameless plugs. I appreciate everybody that showed up to the culture showcase that Free Radical put together. My new management company for me as an artist that I'm signed with. I appreciate everybody showing up to that one. If you want to see me live and you were not able to make that show, come to King's March 16th. I'm doing the Shame Sunday Showcase, where we raise money, like me and a few artists are putting together a show, or being a part of a show, that is to promote and raise money for the Boys and Girls Club and the Salvation Army. So I appreciate it, y'all, if y'all came through. Also, I have some new merch items that are going to be coming soon. Like I did in the last episode, I have another shirt that's going to be popping up soon. And I have some buttons. You will see on the Dangerous Minds YouTube, Instagram page, and the Facebook page, I've posted a couple pictures of the buttons. They're going for just $1 each. So if you see me, or if you're a fan of the show and want me to send you a button, please leave a comment below or hit me up on either social media site that I just mentioned, and I'll definitely make sure that I get them to you. Even if you're not local, I'm located in Durham, but if you're not in Durham, I can still get those buttons sent over to you. So, and also, follow the social media sites and just in general. But let's go ahead and start with this, because, this whole situation, the whole Jussie Smollett situation, it kind of feel like that was, that dominated the news and took this whole issue with Gucci, Prada, and Burberry out of the, were taken out of the conversation, basically, because of how big this story is. But I feel like that the scorn and some of the attention and ridicule should still be pressed on these people. I know the internet moves fast. I know with as much content and news and all this other stuff that comes out, that a lot of this stuff gets kind of lost in the shuffle, gets lost in the conversation. But we should not forget about situations like this, especially to make sure that situations like this and other brands do not believe or, get the idea that they can disrespect us like that and still get away with it. That's why I don't agree with the idea of a boycott. Because I compared this situation to the Starbucks situation a few years ago, where the store called the police on these black men that were waiting for like a meeting, just sitting there, and they hadn't bought anything. But I've had plenty of meetings in Starbucks. There's a lot of people pointed out rightfully that there's no rules against that. There shouldn't be any rules against the people that have just been sitting there for just a little while, and especially calling the cops on them. And it was obviously racially motivated. And so people boycotted Starbucks. There was a lot of ridicule to Starbucks. And, you know, eventually they came together and like revamped their policies when it comes to situations like this, and had everybody training, had the stores closed down for like a day or so to train their employees to make sure that situations like this don't happen again. But the problem is that the difference is that a situation like Starbucks and a situation like, you know, Gucci and Burberry, like creating these awful designs, is that what is there really gained from any of this? Like with Starbucks, it was like, you close down the stores, you get this handled, and then you make sure that the next time a black person goes into a Starbucks, that, you know, they're not treated in the same manner. But the backlash and the controversy of these products, you know, Burberry and Gucci quickly took these clothing items off their brand, off of their sites and whatever. They took that stuff off immediately. So if the offensive clothing is not available anymore, and, you know, an idea of, okay, well, maybe we'll just, you know, boycott them for a little bit just to show them that we're serious, but I just don't see the rationale behind that. Like, I feel like it's a certain level of disrespect, because with Starbucks, that was like one store. That was one store that made a bad decision. One store, one employee or staff or whatever that made a bad decision. And just to make sure that the corporation as a whole does not make the same mistake, you know, things need to be put in place, and to make sure that, you know, people understand that this is not going to be tolerated. So the solution of, hey, we're going to train our employees to better, you know, better handle these situations, to where like people of color are not treated this way coming into your establishment again. That's what the boycott accomplished right there. But in a manner of like Gucci, this is a global brand. This wasn't just one store. This was the global brand, and there's no way that these items would have made it past these corporate offices to the people at the very top. They wouldn't have made it past them and given the green light if everybody wasn't on board. So that means the whole company as a whole is willing to put out these products to disrespect us. It's not just one store in a chain of stores. This is the entire corporation that basically said they don't give a fuck about black people. So I feel like there's like apple and oranges of a comparison. And in a manner, like in a situation like this, because these are brands that have never really been about black people, have never really like shown any type of allegiance to us, have never really like promoted or branded their stuff to us, never really wanted us to buy their products, really didn't care about us buying their products. The idea of Gucci being something that black people bought was a status symbol that was created mainly in like mainstream hip hop. And, you know, when people started to get more money in hip hop, the idea of buying things that were a little bit more pricier to just show that I have the money to buy this started, you know, with, you know, rappers and other artists, you know, basically putting these brands on a pedestal, saying that I had Gucci, I had Louis, I had Prada, I had Burberry, was a status symbol that was basically your way of being able to brag and say that I'm richer than that rapper, I'm richer than that guy, the next person. So when, you know, the idea of boycotting them to show us that, hey, we've been giving y'all our money, you know, for so long, and then y'all gonna pull some shit like this, really don't give a fuck. They don't care. Like, that's the part that really, like, you know, I think that people miss. Like, and they don't need our business. Like, when you really look at the numbers and really look at the people who buy their stuff on a regular, it's not just rappers and people that are really living beyond their means. It's people that that don't look like us. A majority of the people that are buying these brands do not look like us. So losing us really doesn't make that big of a difference. We should just say, you know what, these people are willing to disrespect us. These people are willing to put out clothes that represent their brand, and you just full on, disregard or just blatantly like do not care and like cash in on our struggle, our history, our trauma, and use that as a way to make profit. And I think that's where we need to sever ties. We need to focus on building up brands that are black owned, that are for us, that cater to, who we are as a people. Like, I don't understand why are we boycotting something like Gucci, and why are we boycotting something like Burberry for them to, acknowledge us so we can feel okay about buying them in the future. That's why a 3-month cap was put on a ban of us not wearing or buying Gucci was put in place, because eventually you want to be able to purchase that stuff again. You want to be able to wear that stuff again. But I don't think that should be the case. I think we should just cut that out of our lives altogether. And I'm not a person that buys that shit. For one, I don't have the money to buy it. But even if I did, I don't really think I would be clamoring to buy something just because it was made by Gucci or Burberry. That's just not my thing. I'm not a big fashion person either, so maybe that might also have something to do with it. But overall, I just do not see the appeal. The only thing I know about Gucci is that some of my favorite rappers have mentioned it in their songs, and they might show up on the red carpet to like the Grammys or the BET Awards or something wearing it. But that's where my connection to that stuff stops. And I've never really like had a strong desire to like own that shit myself. But even if you're one of those people that are, I don't know why, but you may have some reserves about wearing black owned brands, or supporting local brands, or like doing stuff like that. Okay, cool. Well, why don't you at least have a little bit more self-respect for yourself to show support and put your money into a product or into a brand that actually respects you, that hasn't blatantly disrespected you. And maybe you can have enough self-respect for yourself to say that when they do cross that line, or whenever they do disrespect me as a person, disrespect me as a black person or a black woman or a black man, that you say, I'm gonna cut them off immediately. I'm not gonna deal with this stuff anymore. I might even give away the products that I've already bought from them before this happens, or sell them off, or do whatever you gotta do to get rid of them, so you're not wearing them and you're not representing their stuff anymore. Like somebody like Floyd Mayweather, who will scoff at the idea of boycotting a brand just because he doesn't want to do with it. And he's a jackass for saying that. And I really do not expect too many intelligent decisions or intelligent statements coming from somebody that can barely read. But he did, in his written statement after T.I., wrote a diss song to him and like flamed him, like he did make a point in his little written statement and responding to that, which was basically saying how how black people are when it comes to the boycott as of late, like in this modern time, when it comes to boycotting, it's kind of like, if it's not dominating the news cycle, if it's not something that's a trending topic right now, if it's not something that everybody's talking about in the moment, then it's not really, fully fleshed out. Like, people are not fully committed to it, like the NFL, or like not supporting R. Kelly after the Surviving R. Kelly documentary. And whenever something becomes like something just drops, or a situation just happens, and it becomes like something that people want to talk about in the moment, right then and there, that's when everybody's on board. But as soon as the next thing happens, Just like I talked about how Jussie Smollett is like the biggest situation that's going on right now. But a week ago, this was the topic. So a week ago, everybody was all gung-ho on fuck Gucci, fuck Burberry, fuck all these brands that are like putting this stuff together at our expense. Now I don't really feel like, you can just feel it in the air, that is slowly starting to dissipate. And rhymes, songs, you know, Instagram pictures and all this stuff is going to start popping back up, because the boycott isn't something that is being regularly, you know, enforced. It's not being regularly talked about, and it's not going to be something that somebody's going to really like have a good control on it. There's nobody manning this. It's just somebody said on, I mean, T.I. says it on Instagram and says, hey, we need to boycott this stuff. And then a week later, we're not going to hear anything else about it. It was just one post that's going to get drowned out by millions and millions of other posts that get put up every day. And eventually the conversation is going to be null and void. But I feel like this is the time to where we can say, we're not going to deal with brands. We're not going to deal with corporations. We're not going to deal with, you know, businesses that are going to blatantly say something or going to do something that is blatantly as disrespectful as putting together a blackface themed sweater or a noose hoodie as something that they're willing to sell. If you have enough self-respect for yourself, if you have enough, I guess you could say, willpower, or, you know, like Floyd tried to say that he was not a follower, he was a leader. Why don't you take the lead? Why don't you just, I'm not going to tell anybody what they need to do, but why don't you take the lead in your life and you say to yourself, what is more important, my self-respect or the latest, you know, the latest on my body from head to toe? And I'm gonna end it right there. Like I said, follow me on all social media sites, Dangerous Minds, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. You also got me at Vinnie-Dangerous on everything from Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, you name it, I'm there. You know, grab the merch from www.vinniedangerous.com. I got some new pieces coming out. I got the buttons going for $1 with this logo on it and the name of the show that you can purchase. Holla at me. Send me a message. I'll mail it out to you, or if you're local, I'll bring it to you. But as always, it's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous. This has been the Dangerous Minds. Peace. Love.